A warm welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining us today in this webinar on how to become a data scientist in 2020. I'm Shradhir, Senior Product Associate at Grey Campus. The analytics industry in India accounts for almost 21% of the whole IT industry and is rapidly spreading its importance in other industries as well. Earlier, it was only giant companies like Google and Facebook who were leveraging their data, but nowadays every company wants to take advantage of the data, thus increasing the demand for data scientists and AI jobs globally. In this 1 hour session, we will discuss what are the skills required to become a data scientist, how much effort and time is required to acquire these skills, and how Grey Campus programs developed in collaboration with IBM can help you accelerate your opportunities in data science field. It is my great pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker and course advisor, Rajiv Kumar. Rajiv has over 22 years of experience in IT industry and has worked with multiple Fortune 100 clients. In addition to data science, Rajiv has developed multiple AI-enabled solutions for diverse industries. I request everyone to post your questions on the chat window and we will try and answer them towards the end of the session. Also, for any queries, you can write us directly to support@greycampus.com. We will now be running a poll for you. I request the team to run the poll at this point of time. Everyone, if you can spend little time and fill in the poll before we move ahead, so it'll be easier for us to start with the session. Without any further delay now, let me welcome Rajiv to start with this interesting session today. Over to you, Rajiv.
All right. Thank you, Shreya. Thank you very much. I hope everybody can hear me. All right. I'm assuming yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rajiv. So today's session is how to become data scientist in this year, 2020, right? And so what we are going to cover in this session, first of all, we will look at what exactly is data science. So we all get onto the same page as far as our understanding of data science is concerned. Data science is, heavily used word, and sometimes it becomes difficult to understand what exactly is data science. So we will make sure all of us are on the same page. And then we will understand how does data science actually work? What is the process to use data science at work, right? How to do data science at work. And then what we will look at, based on our understanding of what gets done in data science, we will understand what are the skills that are required to become a data scientist, right? We will look at those skills. And then we will look at how long it takes to learn those skills, plus what are the requirements before you take up a data scientist career, right? I mean, all of us are from different background coming here, and we are interested in understanding how do I become a data scientist. So what are the requirements before you take up this, before you look to become a data scientist? So we're going to discuss that. As Shreya mentioned, feel free to ask your questions in the chat at any time. We will have a dedicated question answering session at the end as well. But I mean, feel free to at a particular slide, if I'm going through, if you have a question, do let us know. All right. So moving forward. So now let's talk about some real world examples. And quite often you would have come across, products like these, like, in this case, Google Home or Alexa or Siri or Cortana, right? So if you think about what exactly Siri or Cortana or Alexa or Home are doing, they're basically, what they're doing is they are hearing our voice, the way we speak, and then they are converting it into possibly text, and then somebody is understanding that text and responding back to us, right? So somebody is just understanding what we are speaking and responding to us. Now, of course, that somebody in a computer terminology has to be a program, has to be a program, because what computers do is exactly what programs instruct them to do. Now the question is, how do we build a program like this? How do we build a program? So you some of you or all of you maybe have done are maybe in IT, from IT background, or some of you may not be from IT background. But as you know, I mean, usually we write a lot of code as the requirements come from the business. We write down the code to fulfill that requirement. Now, in this case, it's very, very hard to write a program in a traditional way. Now, when I say traditional way, what it means is, like, basically, if we write a program, we will say, hey, if somebody is saying this, or if sound is like this, then the text will mean this. If sound is like this, then text will mean this. Now, we cannot write our program in the traditional way for a program like Google Home or Alexa. Why? Because there are over 11 billion words and phrases just in English, which can be used to build different sentences. And our program cannot go through 11 billion if and else clauses, right? I mean, that will be atrocious. Rather, what we do is we build this program. We still have to build a program because computer cannot do anything without a program. We still need to build the program. And the way we build the program is using data. Not using traditional programming if-else loop, right? If-else loop, if voice is this, then answer is this. If voice is this, answer is this. Rather, we basically build the program using data entirely. Right? That's the only way we can write this program. Makes sense? I mean, that's what is going on. So this particular program, the Google Home or Alexa, is completely written using data. Right? Now let's take some more examples. You might be familiar with, you might be using Prime Video, Amazon Prime Video, or Netflix at this point, or maybe Hotstar. And whenever you go to these websites or apps, they will show you, what to see next, right? So, I mean, how do they come up? I mean, and these these apps will show us, what are the possibilities for you to, or what are the good recommendation. Now, basically, now if you think about it, how do we come up with this recommendation among millions of choices? Among millions of choices, again, the answer is data. Right? We build this kind of program also using data. Right? Not only this, if you go to a site like Amazon or Flipkart, right, where you see what is the recommendation for you. You are checking something out, and it will come up what is what is recommended related to what you are searching. Again, this kind of stuff is built totally using data. I mean, this kind of programming. So we now have a new way of building program. We have now we have a new way of writing the logic, and that logic is written using data. So that's very different from what we have done the work traditionally. Like if you look at Oracle ERP, SAP and all, those are written using traditional programming approaches, traditional software engineering. And now we have an approach where we can write our logic in the program using data. Right? So that's major difference between what was happening earlier and what we are able to do now. Some more examples, not only the big companies. I mean, when we talk about data science, sometimes we feel like only big companies are getting are using it, but that's not a true picture. The big companies get to talk about why? Because they were the first one to realize the potential of the data they were collecting from all of us. Right? And so they were collecting data, and they were the first one to jump on this bandwagon of building programs using data. But as more and more awareness has been created how we can use our data to gain competitive advantage, more and more companies are using it for their own internal business processes. For example, demand forecasting, right? Most companies are building things and they need to forecast how much to build, how much to keep inventory of, and so on. And that forecasting again is being done using data, not in the traditional programming sense, right? Demand forecasting, just like what we had the recommendations. Not only that's a simple program here that you might have seen. How many of you are familiar with Grammarly? Has anybody used Grammarly? Yes, I hope, or at least seen some examples of Grammarly on maybe on YouTube, and I mean, I see that ad coming up every now and then, right? So, how do they correct our grammatical mistakes and semantic mistakes? How do they correct it? They basically again use data to build their Grammarly program. So the Grammarly program actually is built using data. Nowadays, you will see if I believe most of you will be using Google Gmail, and in that you will see that it automatically suggests what should be the next few words, right? Also suggests what should be corrected on what you have written so far. Again, that program what is written using data. That program is written using data, right? So that's what is happening, right? So more and more work is getting done using data rather than the traditional program, right? So we can actually do if using data as we can do lot of things. As these big companies started using data, the other companies realize that they also are sitting on lots of data, right? Every company is generating data, and it could be customer reports, sales figures, demand forecasting, I mean medical images, or emails, knowledge documents. Every company is sitting on tons of tons of data, right? So, and they saw that. I mean, that we have collected so much data, and we see these big companies making, a huge efficiency gains by using their data. So they have, I mean, started thinking of how to use their data for competitive advantage. Now, when we talk about data, data can be in different form. For example, data could be in the form of a text. Now, if you think about text, what kind of data we have? Email is data, right? Those knowledge documents. Every time we build something new, we will create user documents, knowledge documents. That's data, right? Every time we chat, that creates text data again, right? So we are creating lots and lots of text data within our organizations, right? Similarly, we generate a lot of data in numbers in the form of, and usually all the numbers data gets stored in nice databases, in relational databases like Oracle DB and SAP HANA or IBM DB2. So you have a lot of different databases where data gets stored, and especially numbers. I mean, companies have been storing these numbers for last 40, 50, 60 years, right? So there's huge amount of data they have available and they can make use of it. And also we have seen a lot of other companies, especially in healthcare and all, they do generate a lot of pictures, right? They do MRI scans, X-ray scans, all of those things are image data, and that also can be useful to build programs, to solve some business problems, right? So every company is sitting on tons of data in this case. So once the company realize that we basically have data, now the question the companies ask is, all right, how do I gain value from it? Now, how do I gain value from the data that I have? And that's where the world of data science comes in. right? So the value that companies can gain from their data is using the field of data science. Using the field of data science. So what exactly is data science? In data science, what we do, we basically try to solve a business problem. Solve a business problem using data, right? Not in a traditional programming way. Rather, we solve the business problem using data. That's where the data science is focused on. Right? Everybody's comfortable with this. What is data science? I mean, basically, we're trying to find solutions to business problem using data, not traditional programming. Okay. All right. Everybody's comfortable. Let me know if it's not clear before we move to the next step, which we want to dwell a little more into. All right. Let me see if anything is there. Okay. So Rajesh's question is, what if business problem can be solved using simple statistics and analytics? Again, statistics and analytics is done on data, and that's part of data science as well, Rajesh. Okay, so again, we are finding solution using, we might say simple statistics. Again, we are using data because statistics will require data. So it is again in the domain of data science. All right. Great, good question. So let's move forward. Now that we understand, basically what data science is, now, as I discussed, every single industry out there generates data, and that means data science can be very, very useful for every single industry, right? Because as more and more industry, companies realize that they have the data, and that could be their competitive advantage against numerous startups. Usually what used to happen earlier, startups will come and they will disrupt the existing companies, right? Because they will be fast, nimble. But what the thing is, then what is changing now is the older companies or existing companies, they are realizing that they have something which the startups don't have, and which is data. So the existing companies can use their advantage, which is the data they have available. And they want to make use of it, so to stay competitive, right? To keep the competition away, which means we have the need for data science people growing quite fast. As more and more companies are realizing the benefit of using data to build their programs, the need for data science skilled resources is growing. Right? So that's what is happening. So when we talk about data science, it is not for a particular industry. It applies to every single industry. That's what we want, every industry, not just any particular industry. Right? Although usually we talk about, take some examples for Google, Amazon, and Flipkart. Why do we take their example? Because they are in the public domain. Most of the companies, they are not consumer facing companies. So the way they use data science is kept inside their company. I mean, it doesn't come in. I mean, you and me don't get to see it on internet, just like what Google, Amazon, or Flipkart is doing. Right. So that's why we take this example, but that doesn't mean that the other companies are not doing that. That's where the real action is. The companies which are not consumer facing, huge amount of opportunities for data scientists. Right. So let me look at the question from Julian. So you can do it without ML. Yes, I mean that is possible, Julian. Absolutely. As I said, it's not that we will need ML for every single thing. If we can get an answer with applying this, statistics or doing a visualization. Visualization could be could sometimes give us the answer we are looking for. Perfect. We don't need to do ML just for the sake of it. But what we have found quite often, that's not usually the case because of the complexity of the data. So both possibilities are there. We usually start with first do our own analysis without going to ML. And if that works, wonderful. At that moment, we can share the results with the business. Hey, this is what is causing the problem. Right? So yes, that is absolutely possible. Rajesh also, I think, had a similar experience. I guess, yes. And I understand why sometimes, companies just, not companies, rather managers, they say, okay, let's use ML. Because ML is the buzzword, right? I mean, everybody wants to look cool, right? So that happens. But as data scientists, we should know better. We should know better, right? Again, so yes, there will be few problems which can be where we can find answer with the regular statistics and data visualization. We will look at that, Shravya, as well, right? We will look at that. What kind of technologies we will. I'll take up that question at that moment, right? Right. So all right. Okay, let's move forward. So let's now that we understand that there is a demand. I mean, every company is trying to make use of their data. Let's understand how does the data science process works, right? I mean, what happens when we say, okay, we are doing a data science project, right? What exactly needs to be done by the person who's responsible or the team who's responsible to carry out that data science project? Now, to start with, first of all, we have to have a business problem because the goal is to solve a business problem and not do data science just for the sake of it. And quite often we just want to do the data science, but we don't know what problem we need to solve. So business or the company should provide you the business problem they are facing and that for which they want a solution. Usually it's not a data scientist role to identify the business problem. They can help, but usually the company or the management will share what the business problem is. For example, it could be like you're building a company and you want to say, hey, I want to build a program which can actually tell what are the housing prices in different part of India or in different cities, different parts of cities, right? Again, there are a lot of areas where there could be a lot of different business problems depending on the business you are working. So let's take an example. Let's say we will work through this example. So what is once you have identified the business problem, what is the next step? The next step is data collection and storage. As we know, data science works once you have the data. If you don't have the data, there's no data science. Right? In the name itself, we have data. So unless there is a data, there's no data science. So first of all, we will need to collect data. Again, the data could come from various sources. Quite often, it's usually the data will be company's proprietary data and they will provide it to you, or you will get access to the databases or different platforms where data is stored. Or sometimes you might be okay to get the data from public domain, either using web scraping or some public data sets might be available. More and more data sets are being made available publicly. So that still remains a good source for data. Right? So we will need to collect data, and quite often we basically will get it from the organization that is requesting a data science project. Once we have the data, we will gonna store it out. Right? We will need to store it. And to store the data, again, if it's a small data, then you can just do with small CSV Excel files, right? Again, depending on the size of the data and how organization is treating its data, it could be stored in relational databases in the warehouses. Companies might be using databases like Oracle DB, SAP HANA, or DB2, or MySQL, different or they might be using big data platforms like Hadoop and Apache Spark, right, to store their data in a distributed environment, right? So again, depending on how much data they have, right? A company like Amazon will definitely need distributed distributed platform for data storage. Some companies might be okay to have it in a central place. right? Again, it varies from company to company, depends on the size of the company and how much data they are collecting, right? But it needs to be stored. Once we have stored the data, so for example, in this case, let's say in housing, we will maybe scrapping is there and we store the data as a CSV file or Excel. Once we have the data, usually we cannot derive the value from the data right away. Rather, we have to clean the data. We have to clean the data. In a very simple way, sometime what we'll have data might have, some values might be missing. For example, we scrap the data from the web, and now some entries might be missing the address of the house or the price of the house and so on. So we need to deal with those situations, right? Before we actually start deriving value out of data, we will need to clean the data. Now, once we have cleaned the data, then we start exploring and visualizing the data. Right? At this point, we are ready to look at what is happening in the data. Right? We can use some visualization tools and some statistics to understand what exactly the data is telling us. Right? What are the outliers? One very common thing that we look at, are there any outliers in my data, which might mess up if I don't take it out or if I don't handle it, it might mess up my entire analysis. Right? Just one example. And as Julian and Rajesh would say, sometime as you visualize and explore your data, you might have an answer to the problem that you started with. And at that point, you can go ahead and communicate your solution to the business who asks that problem to be solved. Right? So that might happen sometimes, but quite often that is usually not the case. And that means we need a better understanding of data. And that brings us, once we have done the exploration, then we move. And if our answer is still not there, we go to a step called data modeling. And this is also a critical step. But again, these things have to be followed in sequence. You need to have data, you need to store it, you need to clean it, you should visualize it and explore it before going to data modeling. And in data modeling stage, we basically, what we do, we build machine learning models. Right? Machine learning models to say what we want, what kind of predictions, what kind of problems we want to solve. So machine learning model will actually build the logic to understand what is there in the data and give you the answer. The answer could be what is being spoken to Alexa, or what products should I recommend on e-commerce side, or what should be my demand forecasting for next 6 months, right? So data modeling involves machine learning models who actually build the logic out of data. Right? Again, training is done across a lot of examples. Usually we have a lot of data when ML model is involved. And again, the input to ML model will be all the previous steps that we saw. Right? So data modeling is quite very, very common in data science. And then what happens once we have our model ready, then we make it available to the other stakeholders, which could be users inside the organization or outside the organization, by deploying them in production. Right? So production deployment is part of data science. And then we also need to monitor that solution over a period. Why? Because unlike the traditional programming where the logic more or less remains same, here, even though your scenario is same, your data keeps changing. The data keeps changing. If you think about housing prices, maybe there's a new place that has come up, or there's a road that has been built up in a particular area. Things keep changing and the prices keep changing. So our model also needs to keep getting better and better. Right? So optimization is critical in data science. You have to keep up with changing data. Right? So these are the 6 steps: identifying the business problem, data collection and storage, cleaning the data, visualizing and exploration of data, data modeling, and finally deployment and continuous optimization. Right? This is the high level summary. Now, since everybody's okay with what happens in data science at a high, I mean, in general, that's again, each of these steps involve a lot of different techniques and technologies. So, we will go, I mean, you will learn about that as you go through the course. We will, I mean, we will see how long it takes. But this is at a high level, these are the critical steps that we need to carry out in the data science project. All right, now that we understand this, now comes the question, all right, what skills do I need? What skills do I need to become data scientist? Right? Now, so we understand what happens in a data science project. So now let's see what skills we need to map our skills to the requirement of data science. So first of all, data science is good amount of data science is about math and statistics in particular. Right, as you can see, I mean, we do a lot of visualization, exploration of data. We do machine learning and all of that is math and statistics at work. Right, so so we will need to learn. If we know it already, great. If not, we will need to learn concepts like linear algebra, calculus, probability distributions, and so on. Now, having said that, I mean, you may not realize, most of you, but most of these topics we studied in high school, usually in 11th or 12th grade. I think that calculus is an 11th grade subject, is an 11th, similarly linear algebra, right? So we might have forgotten about those, but almost all of us actually have gone through most of these concepts in math. So it could be a refresher or a fresh start in learning these topics. So first key thing is understanding these concepts of that apply to data science from math and statistics. Not everything in math and statistics, things which are related to data science, right? So we will need to learn that. Second thing is because we are dealing with data, we are dealing with math. Now, we are not going to apply all this math using by hand. We are not going to do it on a piece of paper, right? Rather, we will need to use some software language to carry out this math operations. And so math can be written in any language. You can have in C, C++, Java, R, Python. But Python and R somehow are ended up being the most popular computer languages for data science, right? Why? In case of Python, where basically it's a very, very relatively much simpler language to learn compared to say C++ or even Java. Very easy to learn, and people love simplicity of Python. In the same way, R has been is again very simple to pick up and very helpful. I mean, this has been in R was actually the original language of data science, because that's what was being used in universities. I mean, that's where most of the research for data science came through, right? But Python and R are both quite popular. Python is gaining more and more because of it is used in non-data science work as well. But both languages are in great demand, and as the languages are in great demand, more and more math packages and more libraries are being built in these languages, which means more and more work can be done in these languages. So we will need to learn one of these languages, either R or Python. One is enough, not both. All right. So that's the second thing, math, programming. Third is, as we are dealing with the data, quite often we are going to deal with data which is stored in relational databases, like in the structured query language. So structured query language is a common language that can be used to actually interact with any relational database. So structured query language, SQL, is very important for a data scientist, because that basically allows us an easy access to the data, SQL. So that you will need to learn. Now, another thing related to data storage and working with data is big data platforms, where distributed data platforms like Hadoop and Apache Spark. So if familiarity and knowledge of these two platforms will be needed, because quite often the companies use these platforms to store large amount of data. So how do we get that data from, say, Apache, Spark, or Hadoop? So we will need to learn these two areas as well, right? Right. And now, once you have this data, not databases knowledge, which could be big data or relational databases platform. The fifth thing that you will need to learn is machine learning. The skill that is needed is machine learning, and as you can see all around you, is just it's too much in the news, but there's real value in machine learning. Right? I'm speaking from the personal experience and not just for the sake of it. I mean, there's a lot of hype. I wish that hype goes away and more people focus on solving business problems. But at times, just you can't help it. But machine learning is very powerful technique. It has a lot of substance in it. So in machine learning, we are going to learn, we have to learn supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning, and you're going to use a lot of different libraries like scikit-learn, Keras, TensorFlow, NLTK. I mean, there are a lot of other libraries, and you get to use more and more as you get more comfortable with these, these areas, right? So math, programming language, database knowledge, big data platform, and machine learning. These are the key things. Now, finally, there's one more skill that is very, very important. And as we discussed, this could itself give us good insights in the data, is data visualization. And in that regard, Tableau as a commercial product is very, very popular. And you have, again, there are some Python libraries like Matplotlib, Seaborn, which are quite popular with data scientists, because this gets, these libraries you can use within the, within the development environment, and so it's well integrated with your code. So it's, it's quite popular with data scientists. So you will be, it'll be useful to learn these. Or if you're learning R, then you have library like ggplot2, which is again very good for visualization. So you will need to learn the visualization tools as well, right? So again, different to overall 6 key areas that you will need to focus on in terms of skills: math, programming, either R or Python, then database knowledge in terms of SQL, big data platforms, Hadoop and Spark, machine learning, and data visualization. Right. So this is what we will need to learn. Now, question, Paolo, I will take this question at the end. Now, Shravya, question from you. OLAP again. OLAP platforms like SAS or SSPS. They are quite useful in a way that they provide an integrated approach to visualization and modeling. Right? Those are the commercial products available. Again, they do fit in nicely because you are again modeling data in those products. Right? Those are commercial products available. A lot of people go for open source packages like what we saw, but there are a lot of companies who are using these integrated platforms, analytics platform. But again, in those platforms, the concepts remain the same. You have the machine learning, you have the visualization techniques, and so on. It's just different tools to do the same thing. Because ultimately, at the end of it, it's happening through math. So math can be implemented in any package. 1 + 1 will remain 2, whether we do it in Python or Java. Right? So same thing. It's just different implementation of math. Right? All right. Now you've seen what are the different skills that are needed Now, if you talk about, so that means you're going to learn quite a bit, right? Just by going through this, 6 different areas, we can see that there are quite a few areas that we need to be good at to become a good data scientist. And so how long does it take? Usually it should take a minimum of 4 to 6 months to become familiar with all, again, these different skills, to get more proficient with these different skills, right? So they basically, I mean, if you see somebody saying that, hey, you can learn data science in, say, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, it simply is not possible, because there's so many things to learn. It needs time, right? Otherwise, things keep getting dropped off your brain as you learn more topics, right? So these field do take time to learn. So give yourself enough time. Again, if somebody is already familiar with few of these areas, they may take lesser time. But if you're starting new, then it will take a little longer. Again, that's why it may take about 4 to 6 months with regular reading, not just read at the end and then say, okay, I'm data science. No, you have to learn these skills over a period, right? And not only that, you will need to continue learning even after you have finished your initial learning, right? I mean, so data science especially is it's continuous learning. Even every day you get a good 30, 40, 50 papers being presented on archive and all, and that means there's a lot of new concepts that are coming through, and you will need to keep up with some of that. Not all of them, but some of that, right? So the data science does involve continuous learning throughout, as of now. I mean, right? There's no end to it, right? So that's what it will take. Now, what are the prerequisites? Like, what do you need to have before you decide to become a data scientist? Right? What are the skills that you need, right? So first of all, it's the key skill, which is not easy to teach, but you learn it. Is problem solving skills, right? It's in data science. It's things are not guaranteed, right? You have to apply different techniques to get the solution, right? So you need to be you need to be good at problem solving. Second thing is you should be able to work with and enjoy working with data, right? You are going to look at a lot of data. You're going to work with a lot of data, so you should enjoy that part, right? I mean, that's very important. Sometimes we get intimidated once we look at few 100,000 or few thousand rows of data in Excel or database. We if we don't feel comfortable, then it's okay not to feel comfortable, but then should know what to do with it. Hey, let's try to summarize using visualization first. Let's understand what is there in the data, right? So should be comfortable with that. The third thing is that if you have a knowledge of any computer language, not necessarily Python and R, then it'll be that much easier to pick up Python, right? Because if you talk about different languages, the concept remains same. The if else loop, variables, list, dictionary, and all those concepts remain same. It's just slightly different syntax, right? But if you don't know, that's still okay. As I said, Python are very, very, very the most simplest of language to pick up relatively. Again, it's not that you don't have to make any. You have to make an effort to learn this, but these languages are fairly simple to pick up, and with some effort, you should be able to. And then what I suggest is that it's always good to have a master's or bachelor degree with math background, right? Because this is ultimately all boils down to math. Although most of the math is being done by the Python or R libraries, but still it's good to understand math. And so if you are from engineering or commerce background, then you should definitely can look to do the data science, right? So this is what we wanted to cover, like what is data science, what is involved in in data science project, what are the skills that people need to have who want to work in data science project, and how long it takes, right? So that's what we wanted to cover. And so now I think we can go for the question answering session. So all right, let me take up the question from Pablo. So question is how to become if the market is crowded with juniors. All right. So and again, you're right. You're right in a way that it's very much hyped up. It's very much hyped up. To be honest, there are not enough people to take up the jobs. It's just that the hype in the media is tremendous, so we feel like as if everybody is learning this. As you can see, it takes good 6 months to learn this subject, to just get comfortable with it, right? So it takes a lot of effort, and not everybody is there, right? So now, if you are an experienced person, suppose not in data science but in other domain skills could be, you can combine the skills you learn in data science with your domain skills, because ultimately this data science need to provide solution for for different domains. And if you have knowledge in a particular domain, you basically are that much more better placed to apply data science in the domain that you're covering. So that's how I would say you will distinguish yourself. You will bring a competitive advantage based on your experience, which freshers will not have. They are starting fresh, so they will need to they will gain domain experience over time, but you already have, and you can apply data science in your domain. All right, let's take how important data visualization aspect. Very, very important, Devmalya. This is data visualization is critical in terms of you need to get comfortable with data. And quite often, it's not easy to look at a lot of data in a database or in Excel file. So best way is to get comfortable with data is visualization. And that in itself can sometimes give you an answer or get you closer to answer. Very important. So experienced people are faced challenge with respect to rescale versus salary. How do tackle this? How do make careers? So again, I usually do not recommend as such to leaving the domain. If you spend 10, 12, 15, 8 years working in a particular domain, what I would say is learn data science and bring those skills to the domain. So that way you get to apply both the skills that you've already learned and the skills that you learn in a data science program. So it's not this or that. I say you have to combine both those skills. All right. What is what can expect in the fresher in the field? Freshers, again, I think usually it's anywhere close. As per the Glassdoor, we can look at the Glassdoor. They have the data. So it's usually 4 to 6 or 4 to 7, depending on the skills level and all. So that's usually they had the report. We can look at it in Glassdoor. I think the average they were showing salary in India for data scientists was 10.86 lakh per year. But that is for everybody included. Starting for the freshers, obviously it will be a little lower. So if I don't have masters, Senzo, that's not true. You can have bachelors or masters, not just masters. Bachelor is okay, but thing is, other skills are critically important. Problem solving, right? That's very important, right? That enjoying working with data, and if you know or are willing to learn language, you can do wonders, right? But it needs a lot of patience to learn these skills. It's not completely solved field. That's what I'm saying, right? So a lot of practicing to be done. All right, how important is data visualization? I think I answered the first part, how to properly start preparing for a career in data science. So, and that's what this particular session is. to help you understand what is involved in data science and what kind of skills you need, so that you get an idea what really will be needed from me, right? Am I really looking forward to this, right? So this session hopefully helps you. But if you still have questions, please drop us a note, and we will be more than happy to help. Right? Debala's next question, a fresher taking up. All right. So I think I already answered that. It's not that the experienced people have a huge advantage in terms of their domain knowledge. Do not discount that. I sometimes get 10-year experienced person's resume, and they have in 2 pages they have written all ML. And we know, I know that they have not done ML in their work, but that 2-page resume is only talking about ML. But what I look for the domain experience first. What domain they are experienced in? Banking, insurance. As you saw, healthcare. Domain is the key. These data science skills will be applied in different domains. Bring forth your domain skills. Do not hide them. That's what I would say. It's again hype. Yes, I would agree, but trust me, there we don't get people who are good data scientists when we look out for, right? So there is a huge opportunity for good data scientists to gain good jobs in the market, right? Do not. Sometimes what has happened, because data science is so hyped, everybody is talking about it. Everybody means you go to and sometimes if you click on some data science articles, Google and everybody start posting you data science articles or news, and you feel like, hey, everybody knows data science. That's what it feels like, but that's not true. That's not what the reality is, right? So we are. I think we have some more questions, but Rajesh, do you want to, take up, I know we will be running late after this, but do you want to take some time and maybe we can take up these questions through emails? I know there are more questions there. Shreya or Rajesh, you guys are there?
Yes, Rajiv, and thank you so much for that brief explanation. And let me quickly help you how to, like all the participants, like how to learn these concepts from our end. So if you are looking to get into the data science industry, or if you are looking to, if you want to be called as
just one moment, Rajesh, sorry, just one
Rishi.
moment. Folks,
Yeah.
I know there are a few questions still pending, and I know it's a 1-hour session, so some of you might be, so we are just sharing how you can learn, but we will try to come back to you for the remaining question, maybe through email itself. Okay? Yes, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. So yes, like if you want to be called as a data scientist, or if you are looking to get into the data science industry, so we have the course, and just give me a second, I'll just share the screen. Yes, so we have the course postgraduate program in data science, and our training is a blend of high quality self-paced content with highly interactive live online sessions with industry experts, and you'll be having the plenty of labs and hands-on projects for this, and at the end of the day you'll be having 2 capstone projects for programs as well. So can anyone from our team, can you please share our screen?
All right.
The campus
yes,
website. Yeah. Can anyone in our team, can you please just share the screen of the Great Campus?
Okay, maybe is the screen coming up? Shall I stop sharing? Let me stop sharing and then.
Yeah, can you please do? Yeah.
Okay, let's do.
Yeah. So yes, I hope everyone can able to see the website of our Great Campus. So yes, so as I mentioned, we have the two capstone projects at the end, and we have the industry expert trainers who are all having the vast experience in this profile, and they're all certified from the governing bodies. So our content has been developed in collaboration with IBM, for which you'll be getting certified for the program and course levels. And as you all know about the IBM, it is one of the leading companies across the world and is ranked as the second best brand worldwide. And it is top ranked for the Fortune leaders. And you'll be getting this IBM certification, which is a globally recognized one. And just give me a second, I'll share you the certificate, sample certificate. So this is the certificate which you are going to get the certificate after completion of the training program. And let me explain you the concepts like course components which we are providing from our end. Yes. So regarding the IBM certification, as I already mentioned, you're all getting certificate from the this IBM, which is a globally recognized one, and you will be getting this for both program level and the course level. And next, comprehensive courseware. So our courseware is a blend of high quality self-learning and highly interactive live online classes with the hands-on projects. So hands-on approach. So here you will be having assessment in each modules and projects for each courses, and you will be having two capstone projects for the program levels, for each program levels. And regarding the trainers from our end, so we have, I mean, like this trainers plays the key role from the Grey Campus end because they are all the industry experts and globally highly certified people, and they have the vast experience who are all having 50 to 20 plus years of experience with the high technical knowledge. So regarding the capstone projects, as I said, you will be having the two capstone projects which would cover all the concepts you have learned so far in the course levels. And regarding the program support, we'll be guiding you whenever you have the doubts in your assignments or project works in this program. So at the end, we are also having providing you the career services as an additional add-on for you people. So we'll be having you having interview preparatory services where you'll be getting the support to learn how to prepare for interviews using the e-learning materials from our end, and you'll be having the videos, sample interview question and answers, which helps to clear the HR rounds in the interviews and all. And we'll be helping you with the profile building as well. So you'll be having during this profile building, our experts will guide you how to prepare your resume in the best possible ways, reaching expectations of the industries in the market. And regarding the mock interviews, our experts will take care of your take some mock interviews with your participants, and after completion of that mock interviews, they'll guide you, they'll explain you, and they'll give you the feedbacks where you have to focus and where you are good at, and which helps you a lot to gain your confidence to crack the jobs easily. So if you would like to join these live online sessions from our end, just drop an email to support@greycampus.com, and we'll be happy to help you to get certified. So you'll be having a poll now, and I request you to take that poll. And I request our team to run the poll first. Can anyone from our team run the poll? So thank you for participating, and you will receive the recordings and the slide deck in 2 days. And for those who are thinking if you want to go through the webinar recordings, we'll be sharing you the recordings through email, and you can find the website blog, these recordings in the website blog, and we will drop you an email with the recordings for this, and you can just get in touch with the support@greycampus.com if you have any doubts, right?
All right. And I think few people had the question. Maybe we'll provide the answers through email for them.
Yes. So thank you so much for participating, guys, and please reach us if you have any doubts regarding the same things. Thank you so much.